Hi guys, welcome back to A to Z. I'm Ariel.
And I'm Zee.
And this episode is called Men. And I think you'll think this is really juicy. So let's get into it.
Girl.
So we're going to start off by reading our horoscopes. Because as much as maybe I don't believe in it, I think it's important, just in case. So we're going to Google it. Okay, did you get yours?
Yes.
Okay. Do you want to go ahead?
So mine says many things.
Ooh.
It says, look for pleasant moments in love and ensure you have spare time to meet the deadlines at work. Both health and wealth will be your companion throughout the day.
I love that. Okay, mine says, for today, your love life will be cheerful and health is also positive. So that's looking good for me. And you know what? I did my vision board and I'm kind of sensing some type of love coming for me next year.
Girl,
I know.
did you put a man on your vision board?
Yeah.
Oh, who?
Obviously. No one specific.
Oh.
But I can't share too much, obviously,
Girl.
of my vision board. But you can see it when we get home.
Okay. Yes. Yes. I love
But what do you feel like that's true for you?
Girl, I'm going to be so honest. As soon as I read that, it says, make sure you have spare time to meet your deadlines at work. I'm sorry. I'm trying to do less of that. I'm trying to live more, you guys.
You're my manager.
I know. I was like, oh my gosh, you sound like our ops manager because he's always honest about being, getting it together. But it says, look for pleasant moments in love. Both health and wealth will be your companion throughout the day. I believe that though.
Health and wealth, baby.
I'm telling you, as I'm going through this new phase of my life, I am learning like, okay, I need to take care of myself in order to show up. In order to show up for others.
Yes.
And so that's what I'm learning. But what do you think about yours?
I mean, I don't know. It's weird because I've kind of like felt that in a way. I've kind of like seen it coming for me. So I guess it kind of like aligns with what I was thinking. I don't know. Kind of weird.
I feel like ours are actually pretty
accurate.
Yeah, accurate for us.
Okay.
But I'm telling you.
I love that.
I mean, it could be worse. It could be worse. But that's the reason why I wanted.
But are there any bad horoscopes? They're not going to be like, you suck.
Girl, if it did, then we would have a problem. I would never read a horoscope
You're like,
ever.
Who wrote this? I want to have a chat.
No, really, all of a sudden it's my ex's name on there. I'll be like, yeah.
Makes sense. Adds up.
We knew you were a hater. We knew you hated me.
How can you hate from outside the club?
No, really, when you can't even get in.
When you can't even get in.
Please. I'm telling you.
Oh, God.
That's the thing. I mean, it could be worse. And I'm telling you, but that's why I even think, too, about like some of the worst dates that we've ever had. The worst dates we've ever had, y'all.
Geez.
Come on.
I think who's
Tell
starting?
me you, because you've had so many this year.
Okay, let's see. Well, I feel like all of my dating experiences have just led to like weird things, like very odd behavior in a sense. There was this one guy who I met on my birthday and we met like in the club. So I was like not really expecting anything. And we ended up hanging out for a while. He was like traveling for work though. So he was only there for like, I'd say like 2 or 3 weeks. So we're hanging out a lot. He got me so much for my birthday. It was just like random things. Like he'd order me Starbucks like in the morning to my house, like to my door. And it was just like the sweetest thing. And I was like, oh my gosh, this is like amazing. And I think one night it was like a little bit before he was about to move, but we were like still gonna kind of continue talking. So he wants me to come over to his place and I just like tell him no because I'm like, hey, I have to work in the morning. Do you want to just come over to my place? Leaves me on red and then leaves to like, I think it's Ohio, doesn't talk to me at all because I didn't want to go over to see him. And then he texts me probably like a week later and he goes, hey. And I was like, hi, what do you need? Because I was like, okay, so we're done. And he was just like, well, I was really hurt that you didn't want to put in the effort to like come to me. If we were ever going to do long distance, how is that going to work? And I was like, well, first of all, maybe you should have communicated that bothered you. And second of all, I had work early in the morning and I was not going to come over at 10 p.m., 11 p.m. So then off and on, he's been trying to see me. And it's just, what in the world just happened? Like, are you not mature enough to be able to communicate that? Like, first of all, just tell me, and then we could have talked about it. And second of all, to ghost me and then think you could just circle the block is crazy. So that was only one of them. But I think that kind of like sums up things start out not great or things go well and then something gets weird. Like the guy who wanted to ask his mom for permission to marry me. No, absolutely not. To date me. And that was also weird because we got along really well. Maybe not the perfect match, but we got along decently well.
Exactly.
And it was just like, what happened?
What was weird was that you had to ask your mom.
Yeah.
That was what was weird.
At 32 years old.
When you live in your own house.
Yeah. Yeah. That your mom built, but it's fine.
Like, come on.
Yeah.
Like, what, is her name engraved in your bed frame? Like, I'm just
Probably. He probably wears a locket with
no. I'm telling you, that energy is just so odd to me. I just don't understand. Like and you want to know something? Sometimes the worst dates are dates that you've gone on over and over and over again, and y'all still just like you still can't figure it out that you aren't compatible with that person.
Yeah.
Until they finally just keep messing up. I'm telling you, I've been on some dates of my own.
Oh,
like
let me hear them.
Recently.
Oh,
and I had
Was it the bangs one?
Oh my gosh, that one. First, the guy shows up late. Okay, the man shows up like super late, and then as we're leaving, my bangs are like banging in the air, banging, and then all of a sudden, the guy, like, as my bangs are like flowing in the air, he's like, "Your bangs are flying away."
Don't even ever say that to a girl. Like, don't ever say that.
Like,
your bangs are flying away.
I literally could tell,
like a butterfly.
That to him it was like an ick. And I'm just like, you know what's an ick? The fact that I even gave you my time.
Yeah.
Like, that is an ick to me. The fact that I even texted you. Like, those things are weird, you guys.
Yeah.
Those are weird. I mean, I've even had some other dating experiences just recently because, you know, we're newly experiencing life as a single person, guys.
Yeah.
But like, even those situations, like I went on a date recently and the guy took me to the movies. And why, you guys, why did this man walk us into the wrong theater? So we were watching the end of the movie that we were supposed to be seeing. And so I had a feeling.
He didn't know.
You guys, I had a feeling that we were in the wrong movie theater. Like, I literally thought that because I walked in and I was like, everything of the plot, like everything that was going on just didn't seem accurate to me. Okay. And so I walk out. And I have, like, he handed me my ticket and it was all crumpled up and everything because he didn't look at the movie theater we were supposed to go into. And I walk out because I'm like, I got to go to the bathroom. I pull out my ticket. I look, literally, the theater was a different theater. I walk over to the theater. I take a photo of the theater that we were supposed to actually be in. Mm-hmm. And I'm like, hey, so while I'm over here taking a little dumpy, I just need you to know, like, I was just so irritated. I actually wasn't in the bathroom yet. I just wanted him to know that I was over it. So literally I'm just like, yeah.
What movie were you seeing?
Wicked.
What movie did you see by accident?
The end of Wicked.
Oh, okay. So it's the same movie.
Yeah. So
I was like, I feel like you know if the characters were off.
No, really, girl.
Like, did she not know?
No, really. No, trust me. Like, literally, it's just Moana, and I'm like, dang. So right. When is Ariana Grande going to pop up in this?
Ariana Grande.
I'm telling you, like, what happened? Ariana Grande doesn't look the same anymore. Like, literally. God. So I like, it was the end of Wicked, and so I just like, you know, I just say, hey, like, I'm going to the bathroom, but like, I just want you to know, like, we're in the wrong movie theater. And he of course is like blowing up my phone, like, oh my gosh, like, I can't believe that happened. I said, I could be, because when we walked into the movie theater, the movie started at 9:45. Our movie started at 9:45.
Yeah.
And when you know how they put up the time and the time and the name was Wicked, but it said 8:15. Sir, I'm sorry, but even my blind ass could see. Obviously,
you were just an hour late. But isn't it like a 3-hour movie? So maybe you didn't know that you were late.
Girl, like I knew that I probably would just see like the slight beginning, or maybe even like I had a feeling like we only arrived like probably 10 minutes late.
Oh, so like you would have just missed the commercials.
We would have just we would have just missed the commercials. The movie would have been starting, and we would have been walking. Girl, I left that movie theater so fast, and I said,
"Did you
take me home?" No, I just went home.
Oh,
girl. I didn't do all that. I just went the time, home. The energy. It's the fact that like I live a busy life, you guys. I don't have the time.
Yeah.
I don't have the time. If you do that to me, I'm taking my ass home and I'm waiting for that shit to come out on Netflix. Like, I am not.
Blu-ray, actually.
Really, Blu-ray. I will buy it on DVD. That is how annoyed I was. I will wait until it comes out on some form that I can just have for my life. Like, it just, girl, it was crazy.
Yeah.
I was like, why am I even dating at this time in my life? Why am I even dating? I should just be single. I just be doing this stuff to myself. So I'm just so annoyed. I'm like, what, girl? And I thought I had it bad though. Like, but you've gone through worse, girl. I'm just ungrateful. I'm just ungrateful.
Honestly, I am like so curious to know what other people's, like other singles' dating lives are like, because truly, it's kind of like a movie. Like, it's just like one character after the other just coming out and coming to play, and then, you know? So I don't know. What are some red flags, do you think, when you're like immediately no?
Girl.
Immediately no.
A red flag, if you say you say my bangs are blowing in the wind.
Your bangs are gonna blow away.
No,
blow
really.
off your head.
Literally.
Like you're wearing a freaking weave.
If you say my bangs are too long. Just kidding. No. Love you to whoever said that to me. I love you so much. Don't come for me after this. But like for me, I think a red flag is like just expecting girlfriend behavior when you mean
a girlfriend.
Exactly.
That's it.
Expecting girlfriend behavior when you didn't even pop the question, when you wouldn't even ask me to be your girlfriend. I think that's so weird. I think making demands from the moment that we go on the first date. Like, can I demand that I go home? Like, I don't want to deal with BS like that in the dating scene. Those are red flags to me. Yeah. Having to ask your mom if you can go on a date with, that's a red flag.
Yeah.
What's a red flag to you?
Let me think. There are just so many. No,
girl, let's list off all the guys you went on dates.
Okay,
each of them have a red flag.
Yeah. I think no effort or low effort and thinking that's gonna be exciting or something. Not showing effort, especially in the beginning stages, is a red flag. Also, just kind of an ick that it's like, okay, I don't know if it's like a game you're trying to play to not seem as interested or whatever, but also I'm over that. I'm too old for that, and I don't really care to do that. So if they want to do that, I'm good. And that's happened a lot of times where I'm just like, no. What do you think my icks are? I have a lot. I will say, though, I will cut off a person very fast if there's something that I don't like a behavior. And I think that's a good thing, though, because that is like,
I love that.
If you immediately see something that you just know is not going to work for you, don't keep trying to put effort into it. It's just not going to work. And frankly, I don't believe people will change unless they want to change. And a lot of times they don't want to. And that's okay, but it's just not your person, you know?
Yeah. No, I love that. Girl, I love that you do that.
Yeah.
For some reason, I used to be that way, and now I'm like, man, I just let anything happen. I just let any kind of behavior slide. Like, gosh dang.
No.
But literally, like for me, I think for myself, you know, even like I love that that's a strength of yours, because trust me, you guys, the things that she's told me where she's like, yeah, I cut it. I'm like, girl,
immediately.
I'm like, I want you to have a husband so bad so I can be your maid of honor. Like literally, that's just my mindset when it comes to like
and
Ariel
it's just never
dating.
gonna happen for like 10 years, but it's okay because we'll still be friends.
It's called having standards. I'm telling you, I will wait 10 years.
Yeah.
Because we have like 70 to go. I'm telling you, like for me, I love that you do that. I think that's such a great thing, because the red flags that you've had that have been red flagging
have been flagging extra red.
Oh no, really? Yeah. They've been flagging hard, because it just blows my mind how some people are just so unrealistic nowadays too.
Yeah.
With like, I think there's such thing as like having standards in your relationship, and then just being so unrealistic and expecting.
See, yes, that's the thing. And I think also something that we were talking about is if someone, like you tell someone that bothers you and they're willing to change, that's another thing.
Oh, yes.
And it's like maybe early in dating, that's maybe something that you don't feel like you want to put the effort into, because that is like communication, and sometimes you feel like they don't deserve that. But if they do, and you feel like it's worth it to you, and they want to change, and they change their behavior, and they actually try to understand where you're coming from, why you're bothered, that's a whole nother thing. Like that's where I'm like, obviously I would try to communicate with someone who I was dating with. I wouldn't just be like, oh, we're breaking up because of this.
Yeah.
So
no, and I love that you said that, because for me, that's my thing. That's where I'm like, I was like, is that like a weakness of mine? Because for myself, right? Like if I'm dating someone and they're able to communicate, you know, and I notice something that they do something that's kind of weird.
Right. Weird.
Odd. We
Odd
to say no
behavior.
names, but like, you know, if I feel that you're moving weird, or if you're doing things that are just like, you know, and there's like a difference in maturity level, I will check that behavior real quick. I'll be like, hey, like, I don't like this. And if you choose to change so you can continue to be with me, great. Let's continue on.
Yes.
If you choose to continue to act the same way, great. Continue back to your house, because I'm not going to waste my dang time trying to explain to you my worth. I don't.
No.
I'm not going to explain my value to someone who doesn't understand it. Okay. And if I'm out here loving you loud and you can't hear it, okay, then all of that's just noise. So I'm not going to be trying to even explain I'm not going to explain to someone on how to love me. I think I think that there's for me, I think I can tell you things that will help guide you in order for you to be the person that you need. But I'm not going to overly do myself. I'm not going to overdo it anymore.
And that's where the line is. And it's like getting to know you as a person and learning to love you is one thing. But not even A, putting in the effort, or B, trying to understand where you're coming from. That's where you draw the line. Because it's like, initially, no one's going to know how you behave. And that's relationships. You know what I mean? You learn and grow together, and you learn more about each other as you are in the relationship.
Yeah.
So I agree. I definitely think it's like, I'm not going to teach you if I'm telling you and you're not listening. But if it's one thing that it's like they're super respectful of, like when you're like, no, that didn't make me feel loved, or I didn't like that, and they want to understand, you know, that's where I feel like that's worth it.
Yeah. Yeah. Because that's something that I've been working through myself, is just kind of figuring out, okay, I'm explaining to you, I'm communicating to you. Yes. But if you're slow to react, you guys...
Dunzo.
Yeah, we're done. We're done doing that. I spent so many years actually trying to, you know, love and communicate with someone in how they can show up for me, and asking how I can show up for them. And then I just realized I was like, that's a problem. Yeah. I was like, I am my own red flag, because I'm sticking around thinking that, you know, that time is going to heal all, and it didn't do anything for me.
Yeah.
And so,
I think, that's a good point too, of where you're like, I'm a red flag at the point where if I know this isn't going to work and I stick around and I try to figure it out, or feel like I can make it work, then at a certain point, it's you who's the problem. And it's like, as much as they may not be the person for you, you are letting that happen to you. And I just, can't feel bad for myself anymore. And B, as strong as it is to like want to respect yourself in that way, it's hard, but it's something that needs to be done. And I think that's where a lot of people get stuck in relationships that maybe are not with people that they need to be with, or not their person, but they just can't let go. Sense.
Yeah. Because for me, I think those are the things where we kind of start telling ourselves like those truths. Yeah. Like some of those truths, right? Like, love isn't enough, you guys.
No. Oh, that's a good topic. We should touch on that.
Yeah. That is something that I've learned, is that love is not enough for myself in a relationship. Yeah. And, you know, you can love me all you want. I can love you, you know, all I want. However, it gets to the point to where I just like, I feel like, you know, it doesn't, and my brother always gets on me because I'm always like, yeah, love doesn't pay my bills, but it doesn't. Like, it actually doesn't. But for me, and the way that I mean it, it's not as if I'm over here being like, yeah, like you have to provide me this like big luxurious life. I'm not looking for no sugar daddy. No. Okay. I'm looking for a life partner who actually wants to build an empire with me. Yeah. That is what I'm looking for in a partnership. Yeah. And for so long, I spent my life doing this with someone who didn't want to build with me in the way that I wanted to build with them. Yeah. And so we kind of kept being in these just like stagnant situations, to where I just realized, I said, okay, like after so many years, I finally realized, okay, this is not the life that I want to live. Yeah. I actually want to build with someone. I want to experience things with someone. I literally was doing all these really cool, amazing things in my career. Yeah. And I realized that I was the only person in that room. There was hundreds and thousands of people that I met in my career, and my partner was not there. Yeah. And I was just standing there by myself, even when I got this really big, even when I became a partner at a company that I used to work with. Yeah. And I was standing there alone. Yeah. And it just made me realize that love isn't enough for me anymore. No. And that I need to change I needed, honestly, like I started doing that inner work of like, I realized I was people pleasing and doing all those things. I mean, but I have no doubt like you've probably experienced that as well, is that love isn't enough in a relationship.
Yeah. And I think it's hard because you want love to be enough. And I feel like you can connect with someone. This is what I've learned throughout this year too. You can connect with someone so well on maybe like an emotional level. But if they either A, don't live the same life as you, doesn't have the same goals as you, like you said. And also if they just don't match kind of like your views as a person overall, and obviously you know what I'm talking about. But I just think for a while, and the people pleasing comes back, I would just be like, oh, it's okay. It's okay. I can make that work. But it's not okay. It's not going to be enough. And eventually it's going to catch up to you, whether it be a year down the road or 8 years down the road. And it's just not going to work. And I feel like I've had people that I've really loved that are just not meant to be in my life. And that can be in friendships or relationships. And it's just, it is what it is though, you know?
Yeah. Yeah. No, I've experienced that. Like having partners where I'm realizing, okay, this is more of an emotional connection that I have with you.
Yes.
And it's not something that's, and I want to experience it in its entirety. I don't want to just experience partial connection with you.
Yeah.
Like I want to be mentally, you know, physically, you know, all those things, emotionally connected to you.
Yeah.
But I realized that I was actually in partnerships with people where I was like, okay, like, you know, we're emotionally connected, but that's all that there is.
Yes. And that's something you can't build a life with someone with. The foundation needs to be really strong. I don't know. It's interesting because it's like, obviously you want there to be a lot of love there, but it just has to practically also just make sense.
Yeah.
Which you don't often hear in relationships. They're like, oh, go with the person you just love. And like, I feel like lust clouds a lot of it too, of where it's like so exciting. You love this person so much, but it's like the dust clears and it's like, oh.
Yeah. Yeah. And and that's where I realized too that like I was settling for the bare minimum.
Yes.
Because for me, for myself, you know, I realized, okay, you know, someone can love me in all the ways. You can cook, you can clean, you can do all these things. And I also can do the same for you.
Yeah.
However, if there's even just missing components, and I saw a video on TikTok of this woman that said that she actually built out a list before she went on her dates of like what she truly wanted in a life partner. And then whenever she would go on dates, she would be like, okay, like, does this person have everything that I want?
Yeah.
And now this woman is in a extremely just an amazing marriage that she's truly happy in.
I love
and
that.
I love that for her. Right. And I even now it's kind of weird, like going back and realizing that my life is different now and like seeing that, I'm like, yeah, that's what I want so bad.
Yeah.
I love that. And the bare minimum, I'm not going to settle for anymore.
No.
And of course I can't do that anymore.
Yeah.
I can't do that anymore. And I think those were the times where I realized I had to have those honest conversations with myself.
Yes.
Like you can try and do all you want to try and fix and mend, you know, your current relationship. But if it's just not working, it's not working.
Yeah.
And
it's kind of a thing you just have to accept. And it's hard to accept because you're well, I like this person. Or like, oh, I feel like this is fun. And it's like, this is fun, but it's not going to be forever. So would you rather have like temporary satisfaction or like long-term success? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And it's that kind of thing.
Yeah, because I think that was something that I also realized too. I was like, man, I love this person so much and I don't want to leave because we've had so many years invested into each other.
History.
Yeah, so much history, you guys. And I'm one of those where I will really stick it out with you until the end.
Yeah.
And I ended up realizing like, man, I'm killing myself every day.
Yeah.
And I'm begging and I'm pleading for you to show up in this way for me. I'm begging and pleading for you to show up for me rather than just at home.
Yeah.
Like I would love to experience life with you. I'd love to go on all these adventures with you, whether it's personal, whether it's my career. And then I realized I was always standing by myself. And the most hardest thing I've ever realized and learned is that, you know, yeah, you can be married, but I mean, who gets married just to end up feeling alone? Like no one gets married to end up feeling alone.
Yeah.
And I think that's the most lonely feeling in this life to experience.
Yeah.
And so I'm learning now just to be honest with myself and to not settle for the bare minimum. And the bare minimum, it doesn't always have to be like they're doing only like little things here and there. The bare minimum can be things where you have told them like, these are things that are important to me.
Yeah.
And you still choose to show up in that way. You
Yeah.
still choose to show up in other ways than addressing my concerns and my needs. And,
Yes.
so I'm just not doing that anymore, girl. Like, I'm like,
Yeah.
I'm like, we are not doing that.
No. And just to clarify, the bare minimum is not opening doors and like paying for your meals sometimes. Whatever you think those things are, not necessarily saying the guy has to pay or anything, but those type of things. It's being emotionally there for you. It's being a supportive partner. It's being, I don't know if I believe in unconditional love, but as much unconditional love as you can give, and wanting to grow with someone and having their success be your success. And I think those are a lot of the bare minimums that I feel like are insane to find nowadays. And it's the, oh, well, you look beautiful. Good morning, beautiful. I'll open the door for you. Those are the bare minimum things that I'm seeing now. And girls are like, oh my gosh, he's treating me so well. And it's like, girl, no. He's probably doing that for 500 other girls too. No offense, but it's real. You know what I mean? So I think it's really important, like you said, just bringing up, like really sitting down and thinking about what your ideal person looks like, writing that down and sticking to it, no matter how your feelings sway you, whether you're like, oh my gosh, he's so cute, he's so attractive or something. It doesn't matter at the end of the day. So I think even like, I don't know, I've done this before. I've wrote in my notes. You can literally just do it in your notes. Write down everything that's important to you. It can be physical, it can be emotional, it can be job, it can be whatever. And just make sure to use those as like a guide. It doesn't have to be perfect, but at least you know what you want and you're being honest with yourself. So
exactly. And that's why we're manifesting our men.
Yes.
In 2025.
Yeah.
So I want you to, girl, go ahead and manifest.
I am.
So like what do you want, girl? What do you want in a man?
I want oh my gosh, I'm put on the spot. I want someone who is very driven. I want someone who takes care of themselves, like mentally and physically. I love someone who loves to travel. Yeah, I don't know. Someone who just like loves quality time and learning and growing. I think those are the main things.
Girl.
But
I love
what do
that
you
for
want?
you.
Well, she kind of has a man on the DL. No.
Oh my God. Well, I want that.
Yeah. That.
I want that. Like, and those are the things I think I've found someone right now where they're checking off all the boxes of what I want,
And I love
which
that
is,
for you.
a hardworking person, a family
Yes.
man, but someone who actually values quality time and showing up for me in those ways and wants to build a life with me, a life of purpose and value. And so I'm excited. Like you just never know where life's going to take you.
It's true.
But
And 2025 is going to be our year.
Yeah,
I know it.
I'm telling you.
I know it.
So here's to 2025, y'all.
Bye.
Bye, guys.